Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us once more for this episode of Carnatic Angst. And joining me today is Gokul. Hi Gokul. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi Vivek, nice to be back with another episode along with you.
Fantastic. Yeah. So today we agreed we'll dive into VanajAsana.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So any overall thoughts before we go into some overall skeleton details? Ragam, tAlam, composer, all that stuff. Go.
Yeah. So VanajAsana, this is a composition of Subbaraya Sastri. It is in Sri Ragam and rUpaka tAlam. And as you know, any composition that or any ragam that is taken by the Shastri family, it sort of becomes their own. Like there is Janani Ninuvina, for example, Riti Kauda. Like, it's just mind-boggling, like how Subbaraya Sastri has handled that ragam. Then there are so many other examples. If you look at Sri Kanchi Naike, for example, Anna Swami Shastri, Mayamma of Shama Shastri, many other compositions of Shama Shastri. Um, but Subbaraya Shastri, he brings in his own like flavor and his gait and use of Madhyamakala Sahityam, because he was sort of influenced not only by his father Shama Shastri, but also by Muthuswami Dikshitar and also Thyagaraja
And
Swami,
by Thyagarajan Swami.
right?
Right.
So he brings in all those different elements. There is Swara Sahityam as well, just like Shama Shastri. So it's really really nice to get and learn. It's a very nice learning experience for a student to acquire some Subbaraya Shastri's compositions in their repertoire. So today's composition we agreed upon is VanajAsana, again, which is in Sri Ragam. So few things we have to like sort of think about. When you think about Sri Ragam, at least for me personally, when I talk about Sri Ragam, the artists that come to my mind, I think I would say three artists. First is MDR, because he has like sung Sri Ragam so beautifully for VanajAsana in particular, and then also Yendaro Mahanubhavalu. The way he has sung Yendaro Mahanubhavalu, it's just mind-boggling. He has there is a recording in which he, I think, and T.N. Krishnan and Palakkad Mani Iyer, there are probably several of this type, where he has taken Yendaro Mahanubhavalu only for that composition. He has taken like 40 minutes, and the gait with which he sings, and the accompaniment from Palakkad Mani Iyer and all that, it's an experience in itself. So that is something that we have to experience. The third composition that he sings is Nama Kusumamula. Although Nama Kusumamula, I feel like mostly Ramnath Krishnan and Chemangudi, their recordings are more popular, I feel. And Ramnath Krishnan's rendition of Nama Kusumamula, the ragam for it, swaram for it, that is another experience in and of itself. And the way he gives some of the phrases, that is just very nice. And then Shamangudi also has sung Nama Kusumamula. So it's a very nice contrast to usually like more popular Shamagudi renditions of this kind of ragams is Madhyamavati, right? He has sung Ramakatha in many concerts, but once in a while in his recordings you will find Namakusamamula, which is a very nice and he has his own like Madhyamakalam gate. So that is a very revealing learning experience for this particular ragam. The fourth artist that I would add is Brindama. Of course, Brindama we usually go to for a lot of things. At least you and I go to for a lot of things. In Sri Ragam, they have sung Sri Kamalambike, in that is Muthuswami Dikshitar's the Mangala Krithi of the Kamalamba Navavarana set, and also Karuna Judaninu of Shama Shastri. And both of them, again, their prayogams are very unique. And you will notice when you listen to Ramnath Krishnan's recording of Namakusumamula and his ragam, the approach to ragam, that he has definitely been influenced by Brindama's unique phrases, and we'll get to some of that in further in our conversation.
Very cool. Yeah. I think so. When I think of Sri Ragam, I think so. Obviously, there's Endaro Mahanubhavalu, there's Sri Kamalambik, there is Sri Abhayamba. Very interesting compositions. So Sri Ragam is like Sarre Sarre ma pani sa ni pa ma re ga re sa pa ni sa re ma pa ni pa ma re ga re sa. So very cleansing is the vibe I get from Sri Ragam.
Yeah, it's a very mangalam, like auspicious. It brings in
Auspicious, right? Yeah.
auspiciousness. It's the same genre of ragams like Madhyamavati, Manirangu. All of these have a very sober uh, approach and feel to them, and there is a very logical reason to it, which is that
Interesting.
the use of gamakams uh, in these ragams, right, is very I would say on the sparse side compared to many other like set of ragams.
Right.
Like Shankarabharanam and all, very heavy, Todi and all, very heavy
Right. Right.
gamakams. In this ragam in particular, Sri Ragam in particular, uh, the use of Kampita gamakam is very limited.
When you say Kampita, can you demonstrate that? What does that mean?
So if we were to sing Madhyamavati, for instance, Sari Ma, you do that Ma Nannatu. Sri Ragam we sing. It's not that we don't sing those. Sari Ma Pani Ba Mari Ga Ri Sa. The use of Kampita Gamakam is quite limited. Like even when you go up in the scale, Sari Ma Pa, we would do that. So that heavy Ma, so that kind of gamakam is Kampita gamakam, which is prominent in many ragams. In Sri Ragam, though, somehow it takes a very Sari Ma Pa Ni Sa Ni is another swaram where we do the Kampita
Gamaka, right?
Sa Ni Pa Ma Ri. Those glide in Sri Ragams. Those glides make this ragam very soft and easy on the voice. Very easy on the voice. In fact, while we are talking about compositions, it's important to note the Aditala Varnam, the Sami Ninne. Personally, it's a favorite Varnam for me. So, if we were to sit in a practice session and begin where your voice is really strained, or if you're in a concert, your voice is strained, hands down, this is one of those varnams which you can sing without any trouble, because
Right.
the use of the higher octave is somewhat limited. Also, the use of gamakams is limited in this varnam and in this ragam in general.
Right.
Sari ma pa ni pa ma ri ga ri sa ni sari ma ri ga pa na na ra na ta da ra na 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 ra na 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 ra na ta na na So, as you saw, the use of gamakams is very limited in this rag. So,
Right.
in fact, as a pedagogical tool, one thing I would note is, like usually if you look at the order of varnams in the varnam book, this varnam is number 13. I would say, like, once we've taught a student, the Mohanam Varnam, the Hamsadvani Varnam, Abogi Varnam, all those Vasanta Varnam, right? I would say this is a nice Varnam to get the student
Right.
introduced to a slightly higher level of gamakams. And I have found it, when I teach younger kids, I find that they're able to pick Sri Ragam much easier compared to, say, Saveri, for instance.
Right.
The Saveri Varnam.
Saveri, there's a lot in the book before Sri Ragam that could
Right.
probably be skipped.
Right.
Like maybe even Kamboji to some extent, but definitely Begada probably.
Yeah, that can go a
Begada
little bit later.
also can be possibly, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Alright.
I always teach Begada quite later in the students'
yeah.
learning. Yeah,
Compared to at least Sri Ragam, yeah, relatively, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else we want to say about Sri Ragam generally before let's dive into the composition?
I think so. Other things. Um, the one thing to note about Sri Ragam is the way the Riga Risa, the different ways in which it is sung. So let's spend a little bit of time on that. Pama Riga Risa, right? So that is the standard way. Ta na na ra na 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 ra na. Okay, so that ga ri that is there. This the Vrindamas approach in Shri Kamalambike and Karuna Judu Ninnu, it reveals some nice phrases. Let's just go over that. So, Shri Kamalambike Shive Pahi Mam Lalite Shripati Vinute Sita Site Shiva Sahite Shri Kamalambike Shive Pahi Mam Lalite Shripati Vinute Sita Site Shiva Sahite Shri Karuna Judu Ninu Nammina Vadugada Inta Parakela Namma Karuna Judu Ninu Nammina Vadugada Inta Parakela Namma Karuna Judu Ninu Nammina Vadu Gada. So, what did you notice about the different ways of singing Rigarisa?
Right. So there's obviously Riga Risa. That is there. Riga Risa is also there.
Right.
Then Riga Risa,
Rigarisa.
which is there in
Exactly.
both, which is there in both that you sang, which is there
Exactly.
in the
Exactly.
Navavaranam and well, that particular Patantara of the Navavaranam and also Karuna Judavan, Namina.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is a very beautiful use, and you will see that Ramnath Krishnan uses that
Oh yeah.
a lot in his
Right.
Sri Ragam, that
Mm-hmm.
Ragam Alapana that he does for Nama Kusumamula.
Mm-hmm.
He uses that phrase quite a lot. Ah, na, 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 ra, na, ra, na, ra,
Hmm.
ri, ga, ri, sa.
Hmm.
Those kind of phrases, can be employed to make it a little bit interesting during alapana singing. Otherwise, every
Mm-hmm.
time you'll be looking for ways to do pamari ga ri sa, and that can
As
get a
opposed
little
to
bit boring.
all these
As opposed,
variations.
no, you will, yeah, will our mind will normally sort of look for that common way of pamari ga ri sa,
Right.
but
Uh-huh.
it's good to keep in mind there are other ways to sing
Right.
that pamari ga ri sa phrases.
Right. Hmm. Right. It doesn't always have to be the same extended.
Right, right. And while we think about this uh, Pamarigarisa, Marigarisa, these kind of phrases in Sri Ragam, it is also important to keep in mind how Sri Ragam varies from Manirangu in particular. Because Manirangu is Sari Ma Bani Sa Sani Va Ma Ga Ri Sa. Okay, the flavor itself will change because of that. Ni pa ma ga ri ma
Aha.
pa a na na ta da ra na. See, the flavor itself will change when
Yeah.
when you do Manirangu, and they are called allied ragams. I agree they are allied ragams, but they are so poles apart in terms of the mood they create, and the way you can the way you can approach these two ragams. I have thoroughly enjoyed this Manirangu versus Sri Ragam. And one trick to keep in mind is mm, Maaba, when you go, especially when you go to the Shadjam range. Maaba ni sa I'm going back to Sri Ragam. Okay. Now when you do this ma ba ni za ri ga ri sa, naturally the question that arises or that could arise in your mind is, okay, how do you distinguish between this ragam and Manirangu? Because ma ba ni za ri ga ri sa, it's, sort of
Common.
possible in both of these ragams. So the way to distinguish is not to focus on Sri Ragam, but make sure when you sing Manirangu, ma ba ni za ri ma ga ri sa, to emphasize that more in Manirangu. And while doing Sri Ragam also, ma ba ni za
There
ri
you
ga
go.
ri sa, na, na, na.
There you go.
So you should go to ma.
Yeah, as far as Sriragam, the responsibility is concerned, our responsibility is to do Mari Gari instead of
Exactly.
just Rigari. So, Pavani Sari Mari Gari Sa,
Right.
Ri Mari Gari Sa. It
Right.
provides a little bit more distinction compared to Pavani Sari Gari Sa.
And given that our ears are much more trained to listening to Sri Ragam than Manirangu, while singing Manirangu in particular,
Yeah.
we should make sure to like avoid the Riga Risa phrase.
Right.
Sing a few of it, and then once you've done a couple of times, your mind should tell you, okay, now
Yeah.
we are ready to move on to Ma. If you don't
Right.
show that Ma, then that Manirangu will stop existing there, and Sri Ragam will start showing its
That's
face.
right. That's right. We'll cover more of that in the Manirangu episode.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Anything else before we go into the composition?
I don't think so. I think we covered most of the space there.
I'll say a couple of things about. So overall, Sri Ragam to me, I think, is like one of the most royal ragas. I will say that cleansing effect that you get, like Sri Abhayamba and in the Pancharatna Krithi.
Right.
I have to, that last charanam of the Pancharatna is very, very operatic. It is extremely grand. It's a fitting finale for not just that Krithi, but all the four Krithis that came before that, and including the fifth one. And the juxtaposition of the sa sa pa pa ri ri ga ri sa ni pa ni sa ni sa sa pa 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 re re re. Oof, that re is just cleanses your whole soul.
Exactly.
Incredible.
And two things that come to my mind when you were talking about this, that sa pa ri pa ri, this relationship in Sri Ragam, it's like sort of very beautiful, right? But it's not unique to Sri Ragam. The most ragams that have like the Chatushruti Rishabham and Sadharana Gandharam, Shuddha Madhyamam, like that combination, basically Karara Priya type.
Right.
Karar Priya, or like even Kiravani, Bhairavi, all of these ragams, the Ri Pa Ri has a very beautiful, where the Ri is straight.
Right.
Once you go to ragams like Shankarabharanam, where you have the Antaragandharam, the Antaragandharam takes more dominance.
Ga and Sa. Sapa or Ga. Sa, Ga and Pa are prominent. Yeah.
Saga Pa Sa, that is the more like prominent relationship, Begada, those kind of ragams.
In some ways, I think the minor third, like to use a little bit of Western terminology, you have this Ri Pa Ri is actually separated by, so at least Pa and Ri is like it's like a fifth above. Pa, if you take Pa as Sa and you take the Pa after Pa, you'll get Ri.
Yeah. Right.
Where in the other ragas in Shankarabharanam, it's the thirds that are so Sa, Ga, Pa.
Saga Pa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's really interesting. Lots we can probably talk about with Sri Ragam. Abhayamba, I mean, I have so much to say about it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, one other point I wanted to make when you talked about Yandaro Mahanubhavalu is, how, see, not all ragams, especially that are not like linear. Okay, like Sri Ram, it's not a linear rag. Sari ma pa nisa is maybe linear. Sani pa ma riga risa, right? So it gives a little bit of non-linearity. And even in phrases pa ni ma pa riga risa, those kind of phrases are more prominent in this ragam. And for such a ragam, Yandaro Mahanubhavalu is such a revealing way to revealing entry point towards tAlam singing for this ragam. Ri ga ri ri ga ri ri ga ri ri sa sa ri sa sa ri sa sa ri sa sa ni sa ni ni pa ri sa ri ri pa ma ri ga ri ga ri ga 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 nam da da ga ga nam da da ga ga nam nam da da ga ga nam da da ga nam da da nam da da ga ga nam da ga ga nam da da ga ga nam da da ga ga nam da nam nam da ga 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 nam da da ga ga nam da da ga ga nam da da ga ga nam nam da da ga nam da ta nam ta nam ta. So that tAlam effect and the entry point it gives us, it is just mind-boggling. And
Wow.
so this ragam, so that is a cue actually for students. Yandaru Manhol is a hidden clue in there that take it up for tAlam singing. And you can take
Sri
it
Ragam
up
up for
yes,
tAlam.
exactly. Take Sri Ragam up for tAlam singing and do a nice pallavi in that ragam. It's a clue, hidden clue. And same thing we'll talk about in Manirangu as well.
Interesting.
It is just so well suited for tAlam and pallavi. An imaginative mind can explore it to very deep depths.
Now that you've said it, I mean, yeah. Now every charanam in that in Endaro, I'm just thinking how well suited it is. அது இருக்கு
you can also sing the full
so many cuts.
Exactly, you can sing the whole thing in tAlam form.
Correct. There's so many cuts. The cuts are, earlier we were talking about like thinking, Tamil we say nayama paradhu or very sensitively, singing very subtly or sensitively, talking about different musicians, Brindama and Shamagudi sir and DKP Amma, MS Amma and stuff. Offline, of course, we were talking about this. But generally, like, we're thinking about this, how in Tamil we say adichu paadradhu, right? Like essentially you hit the notes. What in English I'll call, you have these cuts, right? So you emphasize the note, you cut it, there are hits these.
Right.
So like that, and I mean basically so it is definitely key to singing tAlam, right? Having the right emphasis in the right place in odd number combinations, all these how that weaves together. So that's definitely a feature of tAlam. And in the Pancharatna, there are so many natural cuts that come.
Right.
So many. It's abundant in the number of, pa ni sa pa ni ma pa ni de ma pa ni pa ma ri re ga re. And it's not all Sarvalagu. It is Sarvalagu in one sense, but it's not all repetitive. Like 4, 2, takadi mi takadi no takadi. No, it's 3, 2, 1. It's unpredictable. Sometimes 1 7 will come. Sometimes 1 3 will come.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is just spread out so beautifully.
Right.
Yeah, by the time you get to the end, like before, so that is the first time you get something that is not that is more melodic and operatic and stuff. But adukku munnadi, like all the verses before that, every there are so many hits.
Maybe you are
almost every other
much more than one.
I know because of what you said. I'm just emphasizing the cuts that I'm exaggerating them just to show where it is. But andamari, there are so many. It happens in many verses.
Right.
Many charanams. Yeah.
Correct. So revealing, no. That
great point.
Yeah. Anyway, there are such hidden clues in many ragams like this. One hint maybe for a future episode I will give you is which I personally have enjoyed a lot, is Shuddha Bangala. Basically, Shuddha Bangala is sort of similar in flavor to Sri Ragam. So if you have the Sri Ragam sort of like idea, sort of philosophy in mind, you can employ that high level philosophy into that ragam. Gamakams and the approach will be different, but even that one is so conducive to Sarvalagu Swarams, to tAlam and Pallavi singing. It's so like this you can take many ragams and the clue that you get it is from compositions like
compositions. Right. It's funny how I never thought about it before. Like pa re ma pa re ma pa ma pa re ga re da ni da ba ni da pa re ga re da pa. So many, they're all natural cuts. They're
Exactly.
all natural.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not like we are manufacturing
Exactly.
them. It's
Right.
already there. You know,
Right.
very cool.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm, hmm, hmm,
So
hmm, hmm.
maybe now we should move
Maybe
on to the topic
yeah,
at the hand.
yeah, and probably we'll talk about some of this more in the composition also, right? Like we'll talk about jante and
Right.
various other
Right.
prayogas.
Right. Oh, Janta Prayogams in this one are
As we get to the composition, we'll probably
right.
get into it. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so VanajAsana by Subbaraya Sastri in rUpaka tAlam in rAga. So should we get into the Pallavi?
Yeah. And before I forget, as I mentioned early on, like one should listen to MDR's rendition of this.
That's right.
He sort of like made a stamp of the song. It's very beautiful. His gait, the speed with which he sings, his tonal, like the intonations he gives. In some places, we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
They're all very very unique. So I'll get started with the
Okay, sure.
Pallavi. VanajAsana vinutA श्रीललिते वनजासन विनूतनतवरदायकी 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 श्रीललिते 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 Nice, the grand composition, even though it's very small in rUpaka tAlam. So the starting itself, VanajAsana, all those are very nice lessons in Sri Rag. In fact, I feel like this is one of those compositions that can be taught early on to students. Again, for the gamakams are heavy gamakams are limited, anuswarams are limited. Very pleasing composition. So and very nice ragam, right? Melodious ragam, happy ragam. So very nice to introduce this to students early on.
Yeah. I love the. So one aspect of the Pallavi that stands out to me is the simplicity of like everything is on the beat. There's no udukal here. And it's very simple and it's very well rounded.
Right. And full composition is like that. Yeah.
And the money, it just goes very simple. It is not overly taxing. It is very, very easy on the nervous system, is what I say.
Very easy on the
It's
voice,
calming.
on the nervous system, everything.
Yeah. To
Correct.
listen, I'm saying. Like it calms the person down, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah, very good, very, very, very calming and grounding, I would say. And then another thing is like there's a lovely amount of detail in that phrase. Especially when you talk about closing the closing the throat in, VanajAsana vinutA. So much detail in these phrases, and yet it doesn't seem like an overwrought,
Exactly.
it's a lot of detail, but it doesn't seem overwrought, and it doesn't seem like it's detail for the sake of detail.
Right.
It's very naturally flows. First
Right.
song of these, VanajAsana vinutA. It's a very logical progression.
Very
None of
logical.
it feels like it is.
Yeah.
Oh, we are putting Sangatis for the sake of putting Sangatis, right?
Correct.
Just
Correct.
this is where the krithi is naturally going. It
Right.
feels very
Right.
natural. Yeah.
Yeah. And a couple of things. Musical aspects, I think you covered everything. I just wanted to highlight maybe very few lyrical aspects here, which I enjoyed when I was like retrospecting about this. So, Vanajasana vinutA nata varadayaki. Common words that we've already like we normally hear and see in other compositions. Vanajasana vinutA. Vinutā means one who is worshipped by. Vanajasana here refers to Lord Brahma, one who is located on the lotus. So one who is located by uh, Lord Brahma, and this is a composition on Mother Goddess. So Lalita, Tripura Sundari, Ambal, the Mother Goddess. So Vanajasana
Parvati.
vinutā nata varadayaki. So then there is another nata. So normally the use of the word nata in other compositions is one who is worshipped by, right? Like vinata, nuta, nata.
Nama nata. Yeah.
Nam
They are
becomes a nata.
nam nat. Yeah.
Yeah. But now
Because
Vanajasana. So I'll give you an
vinutā has
example.
already been done.
Yeah,
So
vinutā has
nata
already
means
been done.
something
Then
else.
what is so here it is. It's a you have to just at least the inquisitive mind will ask, and my mind asked that question, and I was a very nice thing. So Vanajasana vinutā. This is we keep hearing the Thyagaraja vinutā, Thyagaraja archita, right? Those kind of phrases. One who is worshipped by someone. Right? So that is a very common compound word we find in many of our compositions. Nata varadayaki. Here the word nata. Okay. Also nama nata namami namati. That Sanskrit word also means to bow down.
Right.
Bow down in worship.
Namaste, Namaha,
Yeah.
Namah Shivaya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worship is one interpretation, but bowing down is also
It's
another.
the literal meaning. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So nata means one who has bowed down, one whose head is bowed down, which refers to the devotee actually. So nata varadayaki. So one who bestows boons to those
To the natas. Right.
who are nata. That is who are in worship, who are in devotion, who are bowed down in devotion. That's the interpretation. So very interesting way to keep that. And you'll see a lot of these kind of lyrical wordplay as we go on in this
Right.
competition.
Just like vinutā and nata coming one after the other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So and another thing is vinutā. That is that's
that clarifies that it is referring to
feminine.
Mother Goddess.
Exactly.
vinutā. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vanajasana vinutā natavaradayaki
Varadayaki
Sri Lalite.
Sri Lalite.
I see. Right. Yeah. When we sing it, it is, because of the distribution of words, it's like Vanajasana vinutā nata varadayaki.
That's how it sounds, but it's nata varadayaki.
That's right.
Sri Lalite. That is something to keep in mind.
Great point.
Anupallavi. Kanakadri Nivasini Amba Kanakadri Nivasini Amba Kanakadri Nivasini Nannu Katakshinchumu Kamakshi Kanakadri Nivasini Nannu Katakshinchumu Kamakshi Ripapa Mari Gari Sasa Niva Ni Sa Nizari Gari Sa Nizari Sa Niva Nizari Ripapa Mari Gari Sasa Niva Ni Sa sari gari sa ni pa ni sari ri gari sari ma pa ni sa ni sa gari sa ni pa ni sa pa sa ni pa mari gari sari ri gari sari ma pa ni sa ni sa gari sa ni pa ni sa pa sa ni pa mari gari sa vanajasana vinutA dayaki Shrilalite vanajasana vinutA dayaki Shrilalite Amba. See how beautiful that pari, especially lower octave. This ragam is so beautiful for that lower octave, right? Pama bariga. So all these glides and jarus that those make this rag. Anyway, so Kanakadri vinutA Kanakadri Nivasini Anupallavi. So what are some of the observations you enjoy about this Anupallavi?
Yeah. So up top, obviously, there's this beautiful jaru from lower sa to
The
the
knee.
upper sa. Right. Kana kadri. In the second sangati. Kana kadri nivasini nanu katakshuchumukamakshi. Within two small avartanams, only 3 beats each.
Right.
You've gone all the way from Kursa to Melsa and back, but without rushing. It's very slow, very peaceful, very without no rushing at all. Kanakadri nivasini nantu katakshuchumu. Yeah, you go to re kata rigarisa or rimarisa.
We don't need to notate it.
Right.
Yeah.
Goes all the way there from Kursa and then comes back. This is at a very, very, very natural pace. So
Right. To me, once we come to the Anupallavi, a couple of musical aspects like stand out. One is this, of course, this knee, but the different ways of singing knee. So as I was mentioning earlier, the use of Kampita Gamakam is Sari Ma Pa Ni Sa. That's very common. Ni Pa Sa Ni Pa Mari. So the more popular version of that Kamalamba, Sri Kamalambike song, Sri Kamala, that's a lesson in itself. But Brindama's Padam, which is what I have learned, is Sri Kama, that it gives the higher variety of that knee, of the knee gamakam. But anyway, that Niba, it's a very beautiful use in this raga that we should keep in mind. So even while doing raga alapana swarams, we should learn to bring that flavor when we are singing. Kanakadri nivasini nannu katakshinchumu pasani bamari. So So those kind of phrases are very commonly found in many compositions of Sri. Ta-na, ta-ta-ra, pasa-pari. And you can extend that and do even paga. Paga-garisa, but mostly you say ni-ga-garisa is more common.
Yeah. Also the nyasa.
Take, while doing manodharma.
Right. There is so Kanakadri nivasini nantu. Look, the nyasa swaras are basically male re, so upper re.
Yeah.
Nantu katakshuchumu pa kamashi sa.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's
Very
just
nice, no?
it's an
And
excellent sketch. Yeah.
yeah, actually, I lost my train of thought when I was talking about the different shades of knee that we should
Knee.
observe
Right.
in this Anupallavi and Chittaswaram segment itself. There are at least, I think, three different varieties of knee. Sani, okay, pani sa, so that higher variety,
The
pani
transitive.
sa,
Yeah.
that more
Transitory
beautiful,
knee.
right?
Yeah.
And once you come to the Chittaswaram, ni, like that straight knee with janta prayoga,
Riti Gaula ish knee. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That also is available in this
Right.
in the Chittaswaram. So when you look at the Chittaswaram, there are so many things. The janta use, right? We um, ka-
Ripapa Mari.
Karamakshi that's straight re. Ripapa Mari. Ripapa Mari. Even though it is janta, um, Ripapa Ma. Somehow I think that this is a, you can call it the MDR effect, right? Because I think
Right.
he has sung it Ripapa Mari so
Yeah. There
beautiful.
are many places like that
Ripapa Mari
without the janta.
Garisa,
Right.
yeah, without the
Right.
janta.
Many places in
Garisa
this forum. Yeah.
Sarisa. And not only in this, in many other places, many other compositions, when
Right.
two notes, the same notes are sung, we don't always have to do janta.
Not even close to always. Not even
Yeah,
50% of the time. Yeah. But
exactly. Ripapa Mari Garisa Sani Baba Nini Sa Nizari Garisa Nizari Sani Bani Sari Ri. Again janta. Ri Garisa Ri Ma Pa Ni. So nice. The straight knee itself is so beautiful in Sri Raga. Ni sa ni sa ga ri sa ni ba ni sa pa sa ni pa ma ri ga ri sa VanajAsana. So lot of things to take from this composition, even though
yeah.
little.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to point out is, so like you said, there is many places where there are two notes coming after each other without a janta. There's also very subtle janta, places where you don't notice that there are even two swaras next to each other because they cut in the middle of the two swaras. So first of all, that re pa re that you sang when you repeated it for the first time, beautiful, right? So re pa ma re ga re sa sa ni pa pa ni ni. Look at how many there were. Ga re sa ni pa
Sani pa.
pa ni ni pa pa ni ni anga pa ni ni. So adaliye, like in two beats you have three jantas,
Exactly.
three things that are not janta but there are
Right.
that are repeating swaras. Re pa pa ma re ga re sa ni pa pa ni ni sa. Four already. Ni sa re ga re sa ni pa ni sa re. That is an actual janta. Re ga re sa re ma pa ni sa ga re sa ni pa ga re sa ni pa ni ni. Anga sa pa sa ni pa ma re ga re
That
sa.
sa to pa. So that effect is so beautiful in this. I really like that. Pa ni
Beautiful.
ni sa pa sa ni pa ma ri ga ri sa. And one has to listen to MDR to really get the because he gives it like bass voice, right? Pa sa ni pa ma ri ga ri sa. In his
Right.
voice, that the way the intonations that he gives
Right.
takes it to another level.
Right. No, and I think last time we talked about this offline. I think I wanted to say this again. Just to take a pause on MDR himself. Generally, one of the things he's really known for is the use of silence. That a lot of people say he uses silence very well. And generally, just to expand that out, it's silence and space. He creates a sense of space very easily. Sometimes that is by giving silence. Sometimes that is by taking his time, right? Just a slow pace. Sometimes that is by taking a lot of like these jarus that he gives, right? And sometimes it is just by these flat notes. There is space between those two notes. It gives this sense of like there is vastness. There's a lot of nidanam in Tamil. Nidanam, peace,
Peace.
relaxation, right? Also, தமிழில் வந்து we say this word எதமாக இருக்கு. I think that is actually ஹிதமாக இருக்கு, right?
Right.
Hitam means what? Healing almost, right? It's goodness for your body.
Goodness.
Yeah, this is எவ்வளோ எதமாக இருக்கு, right? This whole krithi, but Sriragam general, but this space, MDR's edition, all that, a lot of the themes that we are circling around come to that word எதமாக இருக்கு or ஹிதமாக இருக்கு.
Right.
Right? And the kind of space that MDR creates, that is something we can learn from, at least be inspired by, even if we don't do it the same way. Just to notice how much space can, you can show so much space. Like when you go to Grand Canyon or you look at the sky, like there is some aspect of you that unconsciously processes how much space there is. That is almost more miraculous than what you're actually looking at, which you might be looking at a star, or you might be looking at a peak, a mountain. There is so much vastness of space between the two.
Right.
So naturally our body is like in a little bit of awe of that. So when you bring those elements in, I think even in music, space, people who can create space very well, their music will always be very, very grand.
Definitely. And you see the commonality between MDR and Vandama in that respect. Right? Because she gives a lot of space, a lot of pauses, silence. So those things are
especially in her famous Padam singing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Pauses,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I think we covered the Anupallavi. How about the Charanam? Do you want to sing the Charanam?
Kalabharana Kaladhari Sakalagama Sannute Kalabharana Kaladhari Sakalagama Sannute Kalusharthi Kalusharthi Bhaya Vibhanjani Kalusharthi Bhaya Vibhanjani Ilalopalani Valane Galadashi Lalitambike Kalusharthi Bhaya Vibhanjani Ilalopalani Valane Galadashi Lalitambike ತಾಮಸಮಿಕನು ಸಲುಪತಗದು ವಿನುಮು ಕಾಮಿತ ಫಲಮು ಲೊಸಗುಟಕು ಸಮಯಮು ತಾಮಸಮಿಕನು ಸಲುಪತಗದು ವಿನುಮು ಕಾಮಿತ ಫಲము లొసగుటకు సమయము పురారిరి పునికి వరములు బిరాననొసగితి అనుచువినినే నీ పదముల గొలిచితి పురారిరి పునికి వరముల బిరాననొసగితివి అనుచువిని నే నీ పదముల గొలిచితి వనజాసన vinutAnatavara Dayaki Shrilalite Shrilalite Shrilalite
Yeah, a couple things about this Charanam. First of all, the lyrical aspect, one of the lyrical aspects of this Charanam. Actually, I recalled one lyrical aspect of the Anupallavi, if you don't mind. So Kanakadri Nivasini. It's so nice. It's very unique, right? You know when you hear some words that this is composed by. Even without going to the mudra, you just know that this is a composition of this particular composer or this particular family or something like that. How many compositions Subbaraya Sastri has used this Kanakadri, even Shama Shastri. He always there is a famous composition in Punnagavarali, Kanaka Shaila Viharini, right? And then Himadri Sute, Sumeru Madhya Vasini, very similar in meaning. And Subbaraya Sastri in Begada.
Shankari Nive. Also, the way in this the kan. So kanakadri sa sa. You're going there. Kanakadri sadanadi. The movement is the same also,
Right.
not just the
Movement is
lyric.
very similar.
The movement
Yeah.
is almost the same.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's very interesting
Right.
how there is that commonality across compositions that we can see. Anyway, so another lyrical aspect first, before we go into the musical aspects in the charanam, there is a very nice wordplay here. Kalabharana, um, kala,
Kaladhari
kaladhari,
sakalagama
sakalagama
sannute.
sannute. Okay, so kalabharana means abharana means ornament. So kalabharana, one whose ornaments are the arts.
Arts. Yeah.
Yeah. So kalabharana, their kala means the art. It refers to arts anyway. Kaladhari, here kala refers to Chandra kala, that is the crescent moon.
Crescent moon.
Because
Right.
Kamakshi, the the form of Kamakshi has a crescent moon. So Kaladhari, and then very interestingly has used Sakalagama. So there you get that Kala word, and it also falls like on the summum, right? Sakalagama, right? That Kala comes on the summum.
Beautiful.
Very beautifully he has used that, constructed this. So here, once the prefix sa is added to Kala, it becomes Sakala. Sakala means everything, all. Sakala Agama. So he didn't say Sakala Veda or anything. He wanted to bring in Kala again. That's why
That's
he
right.
said. That's why Sakala plus Agama, Sakala Agama, the Kala word has come out again. So one who is worshipped by or extolled by the Agamas, all the Agamas. So very, very interesting wordplay being done here. Kalabharana. Here the knee is like that higher variety. Kaladari. Aha. Sri Ragam, this kind of that use of mild vibrato on that ma pari. Like it just make you go to it'll give you a very a sober state.
Yeah,
Mind.
absolutely.
Calm
Yeah.
you. Very meditative ragam.
Very meditative.
Very meditative.
Yeah. To use Neyveli sir's word, it'll make you flat. But in a
Exactly.
meditative, it'll make you flat.
Right.
But in a very.
Saka. Same thing like how we heard in that Anupalavi. Sakala hagama sannute. So when we are giving jarus, we have to be sort of careful. So san versus sannute. That smoothness when you give, it makes the jarus a little bit more softer and more melodious. So
Right.
sannute kalabharana kaladari sakalagama sannute kalusharti. Going back to the Anupallavi phrases, right? Kalusharti bhaya vibhanjani. This one musical aspect we did not cover in the Anupallavi. That simple phrase has so much in it. Right? Kalusharti bhaya vibhanjani ilalopalani valane. Again that high. Ilalopalani valane valane. Instead of that, ilalopalani valane galada shilalithambike. Right? So those kind of that meditative high, leisurely. High means like that leisurely approach to the gamakams, and the glides. This ragam and this composition is full of beautiful jarus and glides. And Sri Lalita Tambike, you can also lift it up, but I think depending on the Kala Pramanam, you have to like sort of adjust. Sri Lalita Ambike. For this Kala Pramanam, I think you can do Riga, Risa, you can show that Ga a little more.
As opposed to?
Sri Lalita Tambike Gari. So instead of giving that shade of Ma,
right, because it's a little bit slower, we can afford to.
We have the time, the space here.
Sri Lalita Bike.
Yeah. And even when singing the swaram, ta masamikanu. So the ta also we can start from pa. Shilalitambike masamikanu. Salupatagadu vinumuka mita
Aha.
kalamulo sagudagu samayamu masamikanu. Riva, Riva Maria Risa. More than enough. Very
Aha.
meditative, very meditative.
Aha. Yeah. Um, let's see if what I Kalusharthi Bhaya Vibal. So from a Nyasa point of view, Kalabharana Ma Kaladhari Sakala Gama Salute.
Correct.
There are some ways people will say we should say like just looking at the number of notes. Sa re ma pa ni sa. This is all a lot of it is ascending right here. Kalabharana kaladhari sakalagama. It's going up in the octave. What can you really do with these notes? Sorry, Anju, it's out of a going up, right? So you only have 5 notes. What can you really
Right.
do? This shows you what you can really do. It's so
Exactly.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? Have you ever heard this kind of phrase before? Like it's not that. It's very creatively used, right? Kalatarana kaladari sakalagama sanute. Of all the ways you can ascend the
Absolutely.
scale. This is such a
Yeah.
creative and beautiful way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously the Kalusharthi is the same as the Anupalavi where sa sa and the Mari.
Yeah. Sani.
Right.
Right.
Sani re sa re gari sa sa ri sa ni sa ni pa. Oh, the other thing I want to say is like gari sa ri sa ni sa ni. This is like it
On the
goes
beat.
back to your it's all on the beat. There's no udikal sedikal, i.e. it's not moved to offbeat or syncopated. It's
Right.
all on the beat. And to your point about teaching this to beginners, that makes it so easy, right, to pick up. So
Exactly.
easy to listen and to sing.
Right.
Ilanu
Right.
palani valani galana shilalita vivek. Aha. Very,
Right.
very simple, very
Actually, while you're saying this, one thing that comes to my mind.
nee valane.
Yeah. One thing that comes to my mind is how, like, when a student of a great teacher sort of like takes the essence of their compositions, okay, and makes something new, creates something really beautiful of their own, but still shows some elements from the guru's compositions, but doesn't overstep. Like for example, and you'll see where I'm getting. So for example, uh, Ponnaya Pillai, right, his Maya Tita Swarupin, very very aesthetic and nuanced approach to Maya Malavagauda. Pallavi Samashti Charanam. That's it. He did not overstep his guru Muthuswami Dikshitar's approach to doing Srinatha the Guru Guha, for instance. That's a grand, right? Really super grand composition.
Right.
He did not overstep it very beautifully. And that Maya Tita Swarupini won't even go above Sa. Very, very beautiful, nuanced approach. But he has taken, you can see that, there are Maya Tita, you can see, okay, Srinatha Di. So you can see those similarities. Likewise, in a couple of places, it does feel like Subbaraya Sastri was maybe sort of influenced by Sri Varalakshmi. Like Shravana Paunami Susani Ba. And of course, there is the influence of Janta Prayogams from Thyagarajan Swami, the use of Madhyamakala Sahityam, right, as well as Chittaswaram Sahityam and all that. So the Madhyamakala use, all this, I'm sure, he must have been influenced, very likely
Definitely.
that he was influenced by both Thyagaraja Swami and Muthuswami Dikshitar. But you can see very clearly he has created a simple composition that takes all those, takes the essence from those compositions without overstepping them, which is a big, huge contribution. of Subbaraya Sastri.
Yeah. When you were singing some of those phrases, that sa ni 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 pa ni ma, say ni pa ni ma pa re ma pa ni ma pa ni sa re re ga re sa. A lot of these phrases, the ni pa ni ma pa re ma,
Exactly.
those kinds of jarus, especially the ni pa ni ma, ni sa re ni sa pa ni ma pa re. That kind of that series. Obviously Thyagarajan Swami has a lot of it in the Pancharatna, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So a lot of these beautiful influences are, there's a confluence of many different um, prayogas that come from different sources, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then his own creativity is there, right? Because all these like wordplay he has done, and then Chittaswaram and Sahityam for that, that is, takes it to another level.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that is Vanajasana. Anything else to be spoken about this? I think we can keep going. Sri Ragam is endless ragam.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Pura. Oh, did we talk about the Chittaswaram Sahityam?
Ah,
Tam
Samitanu Salupatagalu Vinumu
Shalupatagaluvinumu
Kamita Palamulo Sagutagu Samayamu. That's very apt for that Riri Gari Sapura Riri Puniki Varamula Virana Ninisa Virana no Sagiri Vianuju Vinine. So Riri, that deserves like a the tam, right? That's
Aha.
the rhythm for it, right? So pura, like it's not pura kind of
That's right.
hraswa, not a hraswa note syllable, but a
That's right.
dirgha. It
That's right.
deserves it, and it's very
And
nice
Hraswa
to have
Dirgha
that
just means short and long.
short
So
and
it's
long,
it's, it's a
and
longer vowel after that.
even that akara, that that it gives more emphasis to that jantaswaram. It allows more emphasis to that jantaswaram instead of re e a. So that makes it very nice.
Can you say that again?
So instead of a sahityam
Ah,
that has the same re, that he has a akara sahityam, which I feel like it gives more beauty to
ah,
that janta.
right, 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 right. Yeah. I mean that particular type of um, having
Or
instead of re.
instead of
Right,
any vowel there would have
right, right,
worked,
right.
right? But
Ah,
that
yeah.
makes it very
Tyagaraja Swami also uses right. So
right.
Param Parama Bhagavatamau Nivarashachi Vibha Vibhagarasanaka Vibhagarasanaka Sanandana. Right.
Right, right.
Yeah. Tiri Gari Sani Bapani. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I feel like there's another place where that same Tiri Gari Sani Sani Gari Sani Pani also comes in the thing.
right.
I wonder if that is also Akaram. But it's definitely a great choice
Yeah,
with by
yeah,
Shastri. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, you can see that once this ragam goes to any ragam goes to Shastri family, this is another shining example of how all the beauties of that ragam, the various facets of that ragam, the nuances, different gamakams, simple as well as complicated. Yeah, different levels of sophistication in the gamakams. All those things sort of like shine out from that family's compositions.
Yeah. Who did you learn this from, Gokul?
So
Who's
this one
Patathara
I
this?
mostly set it using MDR
MDR
recording.
Patathara.
Yeah,
Yeah, at
yeah,
MDR recording. Yeah.
right, right.
Ah.
And also there is a recording of my uncle singing it. So
From
yeah,
very cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I have to thank you for teaching me this song. Fantastic piece. Great. Where would you think? Have you sung this in concerts before?
yeah. I have,
Yeah.
and I think this composition is probably best placed for like ragam and singing the composition with some
Ah.
swarams.
Uh-huh.
VanajAsana, you can go on for a long time to sing
Right.
swarams.
So maybe like a three
Papa
down.
Mariga Gari Savana Jasana. And you can also take some cues from the composition itself. Pama Pariga Gari Sani Vani Savana.
Ah.
Papa Papa Mariga Gari Sava. Like force, you can keep singing.
Fours exactly, and all on the
Pama
beat.
Papa Mariga Gari Savana. Three.
Risa, garisa, sani, buba, mari, garisa, sana, ja.
VanajAsana.
So you would sing this maybe like 2 or 3 down or 4 down. So before the main, uh, well before the main probably,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Like you can actually sing this like a proper sub main
sub
composition,
main, right?
song,
Yeah,
but
possibly.
without Neraval. Or
That's
if
right.
you want to sing Neraval, we could probably do it in Kalabharana. But I feel
Right.
VanajAsana is a very nice place for Swaram singing.
That's right. And also, I think the composition. So Neraval involves lots of offbeat,
Yeah,
Udukal
yeah,
Sadikal and stuff.
yeah.
This is actually best left without any
Without
Udukal
Neraval,
Sadikal.
don't disturb it and
No
just
Udukal
sing.
Sadikal. Just keep
Exactly.
everything on the beat.
No doubt.
Vana, ja, san,
Right.
vin, ta. That is the philosophy behind the composition, not just in the Pallavi, right? Saranam is like that, Anubalavi is like that, the Chittaswaram is like that, everything is like that. So
Right.
stay with that philosophy of the song and
Right.
do Swaram with that philosophy. Basically, everything on the beat.
Exactly.
Sari sa sani pa re ga re sa vana ja sana. You would say basically do mainly first kala swarams, or maybe even second column is fine.
Second column is also very good. Second column is also very good. I mean, the Chittaswaram and all is in second column.
Second column, right? Yeah. Okay, fantastic.
Pama Risa Sani VanajAsana. You can show that.
Pari sa ni pa pa ma re ga re sa ni pa vana
Aha.
ja sana.
Yeah.
Showing those
Saja
contrasts.
Baba Bari Ri Kari Ri Sani VanajAsana. Or just take the phrase Sasa Papa Ri Gari
That's it.
VanajAsana. Sa 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 pa 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 ri gari
This is
VanajAsana.
inspiring me.
Sa
Yeah,
sa sa pa 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 ri gari dani VanajAsana.
pa re ga re sa re pa pa ma re ni pa ni sa re ga re sa ni pa ni pa pa ma re ga re sa ba ne. Yeah, that there is so much to do in that
So much to do.
first column. Sorry,
Exactly. We are singing
maybe
second
like
column.
10. Yeah. But but I mean, like it feels so slow somehow.
Yeah.
There
And
is so
you
much
can
we can
just
do
keep
without.
going on those threes, right?
Yeah.
You can keep singing
Takita,
many.
vanaja.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Very inspired. Maybe I'll sing this in one of the next concerts.
You should.
Yeah.
I
Beautiful.
did. And Sri Ragam, I'm telling you, right again, if your voice is not in great shape, this is one of the ragams to sing.
That's right. Okay.
I mean, in general, Kararapriya, that Kararapriya is a ragam meant for that. Right? So makes it easy, fewer gamakams compared to other ragams like Todi, Shankarabharanam.
Yeah.
And that.
So if you
that
see somebody
way-
always choosing Karapriya Janyams, you're judging them silently, huh?
No, I'm not judging. I'm telling you. So
Their voice must have a problem. That's what you're thinking.
No. It's the other way around. If
I
your
know.
voice has problems, then you
I
can
know.
go for
I'm just
this
messing
ragam.
around. No, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good note to end on. For a tip for everyone. If you're having some trouble, maybe Sri Ragam is just the pinch hitter you need for this particular match, right?
Right.
Call in, easy, and can do the work for you. All right. Should we conclude with this?
Yeah, let's conclude here and then
Okay.
we'll meet again, I guess,
Yeah,
in a future episode.
Yeah. We'll see everyone again with a deep dive into yet another composition. And for now we'll close it here. Thank you so much for joining me, Gokul, and thanks everyone for listening. See you next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye.